Good morning and welcome. You're watching Sabha TV. This is Breakfast News. I'm Rajya. Let's have a look at the top headlines. Discussion on GST bills slated in Rajya Sabha. BJP and Congress issue whips to the MPs to be present in the House for the next 2 days. UP Cabinet waives off farm loans up to 1 lakh rupees. Madras High Court also restrains cooperative societies and banks from recovering dues from the farmers. India rejects any US role in resolving dispute with Pakistan. US ambassador to UN has suggested Trump administration wants to find place in the resolution. "58 people were killed in suspected chemical weapon attack in Syria." US blames Assad regime. UN Security Council calls emergency meet. And 10th edition of IPL begins in Hyderabad today. Defending champion Sunrisers Hyderabad take on Royal Challenger Bangalore. First up, news from Parliament, which reconvenes today after a 4-day break. The crucial GST bill will be taken up for discussion in Rajya Sabha today. The 4 supplementary goods and service tax legislation, Central GST bill, the integrated GST bill, the GST compensation to states bill, and the Union Territory GST bill were passed last week by Lok Sabha. To block its passage, both Congress and the TMC are likely to move amendments in the upper house. But the government is keen to roll out the new indirect tax regime from July 1st. Touted as the biggest taxation reform since independence, GST will subsume central excise, service tax, VAT and other local levies to create a uniform market. GST is also expected to boost GDP by about 2% and check tax evasion. The Congress and BJP have issued whips to their MPs in Rajya Sabha to be present in the House for the next 2 days. The government has marginally exceeded the tax collection target for the year 2016-17. It has collected 17.10 lakh crore rupees, registering highest growth in the past 6 years. This translates into a growth of 18% compared to previous year, as excise, service tax and personal income tax collections showed buoyancy. It also came in the higher than 16.97 lakh crore rupees as pegged in the revised estimate of the budget on February 1st. While the direct tax mops up during April-March grew 14.2% at rupees 8.47 lakh crore, the indirect tax kitty swelled by 22% over the last year to 8.63 lakh crore rupees. The net direct tax mobilization is 100% of the amount pegged in the revised estimate. The figure also includes the revenue garnered through Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana as well as second payment installment of the income declaration scheme. Post-Brexit, Britain is trying to forge fresh economic partnership in an attempt to find newer markets once it disassociated from European Union. In this regard, it has underscored India as a potential market and key economic partner, a theme that was highlighted on Tuesday by UK Finance Ministers meeting with Union Finance Minister Arun Jaitley.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and United Kingdom's Finance Minister Philip Hammond concluded India-UK economic and financial dialogue in Delhi. As one of the major countries working on green technology to address climate change, UK will invest almost £240 million in India. This is expected to be a major boost to UK economy post-Brexit developments.
We have both continued to consolidate past successes and to identify new areas where we can work together over the next couple of years, preparing for the point where Britain leaves the European Union and is able to engage with our Indian colleagues in a deep discussion about a future free trade agreement between the United Kingdom and India.
India has told the UK Finance Minister that the fund will also be used to create infrastructure with energy and carbon-saving devices. The British Finance Minister was also reminded that in 2015, India had set up National Infrastructure and Investment Fund to finance modernization of old projects.
Established the National Infrastructure and Investment Fund And one of the first major steps in that fund has been taken, and there is going to be a sub-fund with the UK and the NIF participating in it. And this is going to be a green growth equity fund, where both are going to be making a contribution of about 120 million pounds. And this would be financing the energy needs in India. So this is going to be a first major beginning as far as this fund is concerned.
This was the 9th economic and financial dialogue between India and UK to revitalize the economic relationship between the two countries. The high-level talks are taking place at a time when the whole world is curious to see how Britain chooses its destiny in the face of its divorce with the European Union. It is also an opportunity for India and UK to showcase a new partnership, especially at a time when the US is exploring protectionism as an option. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The first cabinet meeting of Yogi Adityanath government took place in Lucknow on Tuesday, keeping the promise made by Prime Minister Modi to the people of state while campaigning for the recently held assembly elections. The newly appointed UP government has decided to waive farm loans up to ₹1 lakh each for the farmers in the state. It's expected to provide relief to over 2.15 crore farmers battling severe drought primarily in Bundelkhand region. The state cabinet also decided to write off non-performing assets or NPAs of ₹5,630 crores of 7 lakh farmers. In all, the government will bear a total waiver burden of ₹36,359 crore. Apart from that, the other decisions are setting up 3 separate committees of ministers on the formulation of new industrial policy to check illegal mining and to protect the interest of potato growing farmers. The Yogi cabinet also approved the proposal to buy 100% wheat crop of farmers across the state. The state government has also decided that no illegal abattoirs will be allowed in Uttar Pradesh. He has also decided to provide free electricity to BPL families in the urban areas. The state government has also approved the proposal of construction of multi-facility stadium in Ghazipur, and 5 crore rupees will be spent on the project.
लघु और सीमांत किसान हैं, उनका हम लोगों ने जो ऋण माफ किया है वो है 30 करोड़ 739 करोड़ रुपए की है, 30729 करोड़।
92,241 करोड़ रुपए के कर्ज में डूबे उत्तर प्रदेश के 86 लाख किसानों का मात्र 36,000 करोड़ कर्जा माफ हुआ है। आज भी 56,000 करोड़ का मियादी कर्जा यानी कि टर्म लोन किसान के सर पर खड़ा है।
पहले मरहले में उन लोगों का कर्ज माफ करते जिन पर बड़ी रकमें हैं, छोटे किसान हैं और पुराना कर्जा है और ब्याज उनका बहुत ज्यादा है। अगर इस वक्त सिर्फ उनका ब्याज ही माफ कर देते और मूलधन बाद में माफ कर देते तब भी मेरे ख्याल से ये अच्छी पहल होती।
The Madras High Court has directed Tamil Nadu government to waive off loans for all drought-hit farmers. The court also restrained cooperative societies and banks from recovering their dues from the farmers. It called for centre to come forward to extend financial help to Tamil Nadu during this difficult situation. The Madras High Court noted that state's financial situation was grim and it was single-handedly shouldering the debt burden in the drought years in which farmers were committing suicide. The court also directed Cooperation, Food and Consumer Protection Department and Registrar of Cooperative Societies to extend the crop loan waiver schemes under 2 government orders of 2016 to all the farmers. Tamil Nadu farmers has been protesting in New Delhi for over last 20 days, now demanding relief from the centre.
They say it's the duty of the government, central and state government, to protect the farmers because they are in a very pathetic condition. Last 5 years there is no proper monsoon in Tamil Nadu, and 2015 the unexpected floods has taken place. So you extend the benefit which was given to the small farmers to all farmers. The court also directed the government to implement the order within a period of 3 months, and in between time and also restrain the government not to recover the loan from the farmers.
Now, India has rejected any US role in resolving its issue with Pakistan. India's wheel snub to the US came after US ambassador to UN said the Trump administration would want to place its want to find its place in effort to de-escalate tensions between the two neighbors. Nikki Haley was responding to a question whether the US would consider mediating. ME spokesperson Gopal Barclay said, and I quote, "The government's position for bilateral redressal of all India-Pakistan issues in an environment free of terror and violence hasn't changed. We, of course, expect the international community and organizations to enforce international mechanisms and mandate concerning terrorism emanating from Pakistan, which continues to be the single biggest threat to peace and stability in our region and beyond." Nikki Haley's remarks signaled an apparent change in US stance of not engaging in Indo-Pak dispute.
I think it's absolutely right, and this administration is concerned about the relationship between India and Pakistan, and very much wants to see how we de-escalate any sort of conflict going forward. So I would expect that the administration is going to be in talks and try and find its place to be a part of that. We don't think we should wait until something happens. We very much think that we should be proactive in the way that we're seeing tensions rise and conflicts start to bubble up, and so we want to see if we can be a part of that. So I think that will be something that you will see members of the National Security Council participate in, but I also wouldn't be surprised if the President participates in that as well.
Amid China's objection, Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama arrived in Bomdila, town of Arunachal Pradesh, late Tuesday evening after his journey to Tawang was postponed due to bad weather. Dalai Lama is in Bomdila today, where he delivered a discourse at Buddha Park. He is also scheduled to visit Lumla, Tawang, Dirang and Itanagar. Chief Minister Pema Khandu was also present to receive the spiritual leader and maintained Dalai Lama's visit to the state is purely spiritual and not political. The visit has already generated controversy with China. However, India has asked China not to interfere in its internal affairs. Minister of State for Home Kiren Rijiju said India respects one China policy and expects Beijing to reciprocate. China had earlier warned India that spiritual leaders' visit to Arunachal Pradesh will cause serious damage to the bilateral ties.
तो इनका जो यहाँ पे जो विजिट है वो टोटली हम लोग का रिलीजन को बेस करके है, यहाँ के लोगों को एक रिलीजियस वे में टीचिंग देने का है। और जहाँ तक ये बाउंड्री का जो इश्यूज है, तो मैं तो हमेशा कहता हूँ कि हमारे बाउंड्री जो है चाइना के साथ हम लोग शेयर नहीं करता है, हम लोग बाउंड्री शेयर करते हैं तिब्बत के साथ में।
Time for a very short break. More news on the other side.
Gyan chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue, symbolized by the ladders, rewarded, while the vices shown by the snakes are punished. Each square, in turn, also narrates a message of wisdom.
Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, affectionately known as Madiba, was South Africa's first democratically elected president, an international peacemaker and statesman, and a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Through a long career as an activist, Mandela was a crusader for equal rights for South Africa's black majority. Having undergone frequent imprisonment, in 1964, Mandela was sentenced to life in jail, charged with sabotage, treason and violent conspiracy. He narrowly escaped the gallows. He was released in 1990, having initiated talks with South African President de Klerk towards ending apartheid in the country. Mandela was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1993 for his efforts. In April 1994, the Mandela-led African National Congress won South Africa's first elections by universal suffrage. And Mandela was sworn in as president of the country's first multi-ethnic government. He retired from the presidency in 1999 and from public life in 2004. Nelson Mandela died on December 5, 2013 from a recurring lung infection.
Welcome back. Over 4,200 nominations have been filed for the Delhi municipal polls due on April 23rd, as the last day of filing the papers ended amid rush of the candidates from all parties and the contestants. Scrutiny of nominations will take place today. Among the major parties, Aam Aadmi Party has filed 1,033 nominations, followed by the BJP and Congress with 565 and 544 respectively. The last day of withdrawal of the nomination is 8th April, and the polls for the 3 municipal corporations of Delhi will be held on April 23rd, and the counting of votes will take place on 26th April. While North Delhi Municipal Corporation and South Delhi Municipal Corporation has 104 seats each, East Delhi Corporation has 64. The erstwhile unified MCD was trifurcated in 2012 into North, South and East Delhi civic bodies respectively. The BJP has been ruling the MCD since year 2007. The last polls were held in 2012. Now some respite from the heatwave conditions on Tuesday. There was snowfall in the hilly regions of Jammu and Kashmir and scattered rainfall in some areas across North India. Light scattered rains accompanied by thunderstorm and overcast skies for most of the days gave respite to Delhiites from the heat. The maximum temperature was recorded at 36.3 degrees Celsius, while the minimum was 21.8 degrees Celsius. The lower and mid hills of Himachal Pradesh witnessed rainfall along with strong winds, while state capital remained heavily overcast and received light rains. The Met Office has predicted thunderstorms, squall and hail at isolated places in lower and mid hills of the state. The Meteorological Department also issued heavy rain alert for the hill districts of Uttarakhand over the next 48 hours. Hailstorm and squalls are also likely to occur at few places during the period, which may see light to moderate rains at most places. The maximum temperature continued to hover above normal limits across Haryana and Punjab, even as Punjab rain slashed out several parts of both the state. The Met Department predicted light to moderate rains and thunderstorm at few places during the next 36 hours in the region. Now, the ongoing heatwave condition across southern states have led to severe water crisis in Gulbarga in Karnataka. In the absence of any relief from either rain or winds, the temperature is soaring, reaching beyond 42 degrees Celsius, besides acute water shortage in the area. Meanwhile, residents there appealed to the government for help. Earlier, Law Minister T.B. Jayachandra said the government plans to use modern exploration technologies to identify underground water reserves. The minister also said that state government will distribute the drought relief fund sanctioned by the central government to the state farmers. World leaders have expressed shock and outrage over reports of suspected chemical attack in northwest Syria. The Syrian Observatory of Human Rights reported that on Tuesday, strikes on Khan Sheikhoun had caused at least 58 people to be choked to death, including many children. The warplanes reportedly attacked rebel-held Khan Sheikhoun earlier in the morning when many people were asleep, giving off poisonous gas. Many casualties were a result of asphyxiation. The White House says it was confident that it was Bashar al-Assad's government that was behind the apparent chemical attack. However, Syria's army as well as its ally Russia have denied use of chemical weapon. US President Donald Trump condemned what he called heinous action by Bashar al-Assad regime. The UK, United Nations and France, among other countries, also condemned the incident. If confirmed, this will be one of the most deadliest chemical attacks in Syria's civil war. The suspected chemical attack in Syria led the United Nations to replace scheduled Security Council session for Wednesday morning with an emergency meeting.
طلع فيها معها دخان كثير وصار ريحة.
صار
ضاق نفسنا كثير، ما عاد نحسن نتنفس.
Well, I'm appalled by the reports that there's been a chemical weapons attack on a town south of Idlib, allegedly by the Syrian regime. We condemn the use of chemical weapons in all circumstances. If proven, this will be further evidence of the barbarism of the Syrian regime.
These heinous actions by the Bashar al-Assad regime are a consequence of the past administration's weakness and irresolution, period. President Obama said in 2012 that he would establish a quote-unquote red line against the use of chemical weapons and then did nothing, period. The United States stands with our allies across the globe to condemn this intolerable act.
We have all seen the reports of the terrible chemical weapons attack in Syria. I'd like to inform the Council that the Presidency intends to convene a meeting in briefing format here in the open chamber tomorrow at 10 a.m. to discuss the attack.
The first victims of St. Petersburg metro explosion have been named as investigations continue to piece together the identity of the attacker. Monday's blast between two stations killed 14 people and injured almost 50. Investigators say it was a suicide bomb. Kyrgyzstan's security service have named the suspect as Akbarzon Zalilov, who had obtained Russian citizenship. His name was later confirmed by Russian investigators, who said he also planted second bomb that did not explode. No group has said it was behind the bombing. Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev described the blast as terror attack. Flowers and tributes were laid at the memorial on Tuesday as a 3-day period of mourning began. Some metro stations reopened after a complete network shutdown. The Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos attended a mass of victims of landslide that killed at least 286 people and devastated the southwestern town of Mocoa. President Santos said his heart was with the families who have lost loved ones and called on his family to bring the town strength and peace and move forward. The Colombian government gave note to begin the official collection of the process of donations in humanitarian aid for the survivors. Meanwhile, survivors queued up at shelters to receive vaccinations against chickenpox, hepatitis B and tetanus as rescue workers rushed to bury identified bodies as soon as possible to stop the spread of infection. Mudslide survivors struggled to recover their loved ones, homes and belongings, while some took shelters in nearby community as they tried to figure out the next steps. The death toll has picked up during the last few days as rescuers search with dogs and machinery in the mud-choked rubble. According to the US and South Korean officials, North Korea has fired a ballistic missile from its eastern port of Sinpo into the Sea of Japan. South Korea's defense ministry said missile flew about 60 kilometers. It's the latest in the series of tests which North says is peaceful, but the West fears it's part of a program to develop nuclear weapons. The launch comes on the eve of visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping to US to meet President Donald Trump. The two are likely to discuss how to rein in North Korea's nuclear and missile program. The North is banned from any missile or nuclear test by the United Nations. In a statement, the US Military Pacific Command said the latest launch appeared to be KN-15 medium-range ballistic missile. The 10th edition of the Indian Premier League will kick-start from today in Hyderabad, with defending champions Sunrisers Hyderabad taking on the Royal Challengers Bangalore in an opening match. RCB will be without the captain Virat Kohli and star batsman AB de Villiers, both of whom are nursing an injury. The tournament will feature 8 teams who will play a total of 56 league games, followed by the qualifiers and the final, which will be played on the May 21st. Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Mohali, Rajkot and Kolkata are the venues of the tournament. However, teams like Gujarat Lions and King 11 Punjab will play the home games at neutral venues in Kanpur and Indore. Star shuttlers PV Sandhu and Saina Nehwal will lead India's challenge at Malaysia Open badminton tournament. Recently crowned Indian Open champion Sindhu will take on China's Chen Yufei, while Saina will meet Akane Yamaguchi of Japan in their opening games today. On Tuesday, women's doubles pair of Ashwini Ponnappa and Sikki Reddy qualified for the main draw after beating their Indonesian counterparts in straight sets. In the men's single, Ajay Jairam and B. Sai Praneeth will lead Indian challenge after HS Pranoy and Kidambi Srikanth pulled out of tournament due to personal reasons. That's it for now. Keep watching Rajya TV for more. Thank you.